Well, it's 72 days to the presidential and parliamentary elections here in Ghana. Hello and welcome to Joy News Prime. Coming up this hour, ACG board rejects calls for its dissolution over poor performance following the resignation of the company's managing director, Samuel Tubek Mahama. Details as the board appoints David Bodia Samoa as acting managing director with a promise that the latest happenings will not affect power supply. And also, mortuary workers backtracks on their indefinite strike over poor working conditions just 12 hours into the action, which left dead bodies scattered in hospitals and funeral plans disrupted after the government made fresh promises to address their concerns within 14 days. And also, existing processes for cleaning the voters' register are not fully utilized to justify forensic audit. Electoral Commission responds to NDC's request for a forensic audit of the voters' register. Remember, we are independent, fearless, credible. Thanks for choosing us. Please stay. Now, the Electoral Commission has yet again rejected calls from the opposition National Democratic Congress for a forensic audit of the provisional voters register. The EC maintains that the legal and administrative processes established to clean the register have not been fully exhausted, and thus a forensic audit is just not justified at this stage. This stance was communicated in a letter addressed to the NDC chairman, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, following the party's petition submitted after a demonstration on September 17. The EC reiterated its commitment to delivering its mandate, urging the NDC and the public to trust the established processes for addressing any concerns with the register. The EC further assured the NDC and the general public that it has addressed the majority of discrepancies identified in the provisional voters register. It added that this process, which was successfully executed during the 2020 general elections, will once again be repeated for the upcoming 2024 elections. The Electoral Commission says that it is not against holding another physical exhibition of the corrected provisional voters register at over 40,000 centers. According to the Commission, the 3 to 4 weeks needed for printing and distribution makes this impractical given the short time remaining before the general election. Apart from demanding a forensic audit of the voters register, the opposition NDC has asked the Electoral Commission to re-exhibit the 2024 voters register due to discrepancies found during the recent voter exhibition exercise, including the illegal transfer of voters. And in an official response to the NDC's petition, the Electoral Commission said it intends to implement an online exhibition of the provisional voters register at no cost to registered voters. Now, voters will be able to report anomalies in their details within a time frame that will be made available to the public. The voters register will be displayed online until election day. Now, let me bring Dr. Rashid Tanko Computer, who is Deputy Director of Elections and IT of the NDC. He joins me via Zoom with the party's reaction to this development. Rashid, grateful. This is the response to you by the EC. It says, well, that looking at the time frame, we cannot allow a forensic audit, and especially when full processes have not been exhausted. What's the party's reaction to this?
Well, let me say good evening to your cherished viewers. I must say we received their response this afternoon, and then we've taken time to study their response appropriately. I mean, some of the issues they've raised in their response border on policy, of which we will send it to FEC, that is the Functional Executive Committee, to discuss and take a position on them. But some of them are just technical, pure technical issues, and I'll go with it. Look at their response critically. You will see that they virtually admitted to all the issues we raised in our petition, and then when we presented it to them. They virtually agreed, and it has made our work, they've vindicated us by even stating that actually they made an error by adding the 243,000. Now that they have admitted to that, what would be the position of NPP and its General Secretary when they held a press conference and was lambasting the NDC that we have no evidence? And the same Electoral Commission came out and said they asked us to bring our evidence, and up to now we've not presented it. So how come they have been able to identify this and corrected those ones? And there might be a magician over there. Because well along they've been telling the whole world that we have not presented evidence to them. And look at their response today. Check page 5 of their response. They have clearly admitted that yes, we had issues with the register. We've agreed that 243,000 of such data was inadvertently added. Don't forget, their director of election initially stated that they deliberately added it to let us track the transfers. So they have admitted. And then the issue about
you mean the EC said they deliberately added those numbers?
Yes, at your program we held the PM Express, of which I appeared there with the Director of Electoral Service of Electoral Commission. You can play it back, where he said they deliberately added the 240-something thousand in order for us to track the transfers history. And we said, no, that's not the case. It couldn't be the case. I mean, that was the time that even raised our eyebrows. And then so today, they have changed the wording to what they now call as inadvertently added those things, and that they have corrected that.
Okay.
So if the NDC hadn't seen that, their IT system couldn't track it. That is what we are saying. They have the most useless IT system.
Okay.
And secondly, about the issue of the illegal transfers, you realize that in one of the pages, they are referring to 38 of the Tamale issue that went to Pusiga. Unfortunately, they were just doing firefighting and doing fishing. Anytime the NDC sees out something, then they run after it. Clearly enough, they are missing the point.
So will we see or hear the NDC insists for a forensic audit?
I'm saying that is why I'm saying some of the issues border on policy. And that one there, the issue about calling for the forensic audit and re-exhibition were policy direction from the hierarchy of the party. And that was taken at FEC, Functional Executive Committee. So now that the Electoral Commission seems to be changing their goalposts, we will go back, refer to FEC, and a decision will be taken as to whether we should push them further, because they are talking of doing exhibition online.
Okay.
That's what they've stated in their
exactly.
letter,
Yes.
sent to us. Now, well, they're changing that position they took, said we are not going to exhibit again. They've moved away from that one and now saying we'll go online exhibition. But the question is, my brother, you and I know, our rural folks, how many of them can go online to check their name?
Okay.
My village from Bimbila communities around there, how many of them can check their name online?
Okay, Rashid.
You see, so sometimes we're making the way cumbersome for ourselves. But when it's a policy decision, let's see what will come out of it when we meet at FEC to take a decision on their responses, and we'll respond appropriately.
Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Now, away from that, the board of the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, is rejecting calls for it to be dissolved following the resignation of the company's managing director, Samuel Dubek Mahama. Following the resignation of the MD of ECG, some energy sector CSOs have been piling pressure on the government to dissolve the entire board of the ECG if Ghanaians want to see positive changes at the state's power distribution company. Executive Director of the Institute for Energy Security, IES, Nana Amwesi IV, was first to make the call for the total dissolution of the board. Now, barely 24 hours after the resignation of former director Samuel Dubek Mahama, the ECG board has appointed a new acting managing director. The board has affirmed the appointment of Deputy Director of Customer Service, David Boadia Samoa, to take charge of affairs at ECG effective immediately. My colleague James Aveji was at a news conference earlier and our reports.
Barely 24 hours after Samuel Dubek Mahama tendered in his resignation as managing director of the Electricity Company of Ghana, the board has already appointed director in charge of customer service, David Asamoah, to act as the new managing director for the company. Now, this decision was arrived at after a long meeting between board members. Listen to chairman of the board, Alexander Apenyo-Markin, on what they make out of the resignation of the former MD and the confirmation of a new acting managing director of the company.
We received the news of our MD's resignation, and we met this afternoon at an emergency meeting. The board accepted the resignation of the managing director, and Mr. David Asamoah has been nominated to act as a managing director, pending decisions of the sole shareholder of the company, which is the government, and we're going to have the necessary engagement with the sole shareholder.
Alexander Penyomakin has also been responding to calls for the dissolution of the entire board of the Electricity Company of Ghana.
There's a new board, and in fact, this is our second meeting. Or let me say, essentially, this is the first meeting of the board. This emergency meeting was the first meeting of the board. When we were sworn in, it was a familiarization. All right, this is the first meeting of the board. So I think that that's a misplaced position taken by him.
He's also been given some assurance on plans to make the operations of the company more profitable moving forward.
A lot of things are being done. Wouldn't want to be talking about them now, but be assured that there is this determination aimed at ensuring that support systems are in place to make ECG continuously an efficient state entity.
Mr. David Asamoah, for the time being, will be acting as managing director pending substantive approval from the appointing authority, the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, as a substantive next managing director of the Electricity Company of Ghana. From the Electro Volta House here in Accra, my name is James Aveji, reporting for Joy News.
Now let's bring in some reactions. Now, Minority spokesperson on energy, John Janapor, claims power distributors are shedding more than 500 megawatts of power, and he attributed the current development to dubious contracting arrangement in the power sector.
Because of such dubious contracts, as we speak today, there is load shedding ongoing. Gridco has been cautioned not to inform customers. Yesterday, there was a deficit of more than 500 megawatts. Today, they are going to shed load, and customers in Ghana will be affected. Talo Ghana has not been paid even $1 for the past 9 months for gas supply to Ghana Gas, and Talo is threatening to curtail supply of gas. The IPPs have just dispatched a letter to the Minister of Finance intending to halt supply of power for debt and liabilities hovering around $1.2 billion. It is sad that the energy sector is collapsing. The PURC recently confirmed that ECG is on the verge of bankruptcy. ECG alone incurred a debt of 10 billion cedis in their latest financial statement. All is not well with the energy sector. It is obvious from what is happening that the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government is just giving palliative care to the energy sector, intending to hand over a broken, dilapidated, aging energy sector to the Mahama administration. We are well aware that it will take a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of commitment to restore the energy sector back on the path of positive trajectory. But what we would not tolerate is for this government, which is on the verge of losing the elections, to rush into signing contracts through Ghana Gas. A similar one is being done at Tema Oil Refinery. And let me also caution Tema Oil Refinery and their staff, especially the senior management, that
Let's do more on this and that of the happenings at the ECG. And joining us via Zoom now is Kojo Yauche, who is the lead at the African Center for Energy Policy, ACEP, for Petroleum and Conservative Energy. I'm grateful to you for joining us here, Kojo. So, I mean, some of you were calling for the dissolution of the ECG board, but the board says, we are a new board, we won't resign. What do you make of it, since this is a new board?
I mean, a new board, we are expecting that by now they would have outlined strategies on really stemming the inefficiencies in the sector. But we've not seen anything from them with regards to what they want to do We've not seen any sense of direction from the new board. It just appears that they are okay superintending over the inefficiencies in the power company. Is it not the same board that was fighting the PULC just a few weeks ago?
Okay.
Yeah.
But
also,
this one, according to them, they are just 2 weeks old. So maybe fairly new board altogether.
Yeah, so then they should be showing us what they are doing, what strategies they are coming to put in place. Because just saying that we are in a new board is not enough. We are expecting that the current managers, the entire leadership really should go, because they have not shown any effort, or they've not shown any initiative that clearly outlines the problem and how they are going to solve the problem for us. So it's not enough for them to do a press conference and tell us that because we are new, we are not going to go. What are you bringing on board? Put your proposals out, let's examine them and see whether what you intend to do really will fix the problem. Because we've seen a lot of start, stop measures that have proved very effective in dealing with the problems. And the major problem really that everybody has been talking about is the collection problem, where a power company is now doing just 43% on the average. That is abysmally bad that they have to stem. So they should come out, they should do another press conference, preferably tomorrow, and outline strategies and performance indicators that we can hold them by. If you are telling me that you've put in place things, what have you put in place? How do we measure that you've made successes? Tell me that, well, in the next 6 months, you should expect that we have increased collection rates to about 80%. Then we can measure you by that.
Okay.
But if you say we are doing things and we don't see any, you've not even communicated what you are doing, that is woefully inadequate.
Okay. Now, let's also look at the happenings in the energy sector now. We understand that there's load shedding currently ongoing. How much of information do you have on this, and what exactly is causing this?
Well, currently the system planners are tight-lipped on how much load is being shared. Previously, that information used to be very readily available, but because of the politics with which we are running the space, nobody wants to really communicate how much load we are shedding and whether or not we need a schedule for that load shedding. From what public communications we've had, shows that there are some challenges at Atuabo, which is, in my opinion, becoming one too many. Maybe it's now time for us to really think about the second train of the gas plants, the gas processing plant, because it's been on the drawing boards for almost a decade now, and no concrete action has been taken. What is happening? If that second train of the facility had come, we would be able to have alternatives to smoothing gas supply.
All right.
It will also ensure that we are not flaring as much gas that we are doing now, because then there will be processing capacity for it to be able to produce power. So we should go back to that conversation as well.
Kojo, I'm grateful to you for spending some time with us tonight. Now, away from that, let's do the issue on the mortuary workers, because they threatened a strike action and, in fact, began it today, which resulted in a lot of chaos at various mortuaries across the country. Let's take you to Kumasi for an update on what exactly transpired at mortuaries in that region.
The strike by the Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana has taken a devastating impact on public mortuaries in the Ashanti region, especially the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital morgue, leaving families in a state of distress. The situation is particularly dire for families who went to the morgue hoping to access bodies of their relatives.
Na yate no one from say and a free no much for no back strike.
I have been here since morning, but they have not attended to me. I am distressed. I have been told to wait for a while.
Skility ma or crano, Ubusana was say, one of the nipa bacope, and the word you more. And he said, Me American, Miss Beden, a mehuno, and they say, I did wabu bar, Mode Abetria or hey, you're near to Tuaka and Semfree say. I
decided to come take the body of my relative to Frimpong Boatin Hospital at Twase, but I can't find anybody here.
Frimpong Boatin or Twase, Honor Bany. Nansu Yehu baby, I could Tiama, Yehu de Minia.
Yamanda Bibibasa, Ukoa, as a Kohaka, how about Conin Paba, for her.
The situation is dying. A lot of people are coming in for their corpses, but there's nobody here to attend to them. Myself, I am a victim. President of the Mortuary Workers Association in the Ashanti region, Ebenezer Asrifi, says the strike will continue until their demands are met.
We have talked about all this. We put all this things together, and we know, as for that, nobody can do away with it. Morning, even days, weekly, people will die, and we consider all this. And without this strike, we can't go forward. That's why we have decided to lay out all our this thing.
In the Greater Accra region, my colleagues Collins Frimpong and Yvonne Heffron were at the Kolebu Hospital mortuary where most families were stranded.
It's very bad. These people, when it comes to these places, they are very important. As we know, when someone dies and the family is not ready to bury, it has to be kept somewhere. But when they are not treated well and it comes this way, it affects the whole country.
I didn't know about the strike. There was no one there to remove the body for us. Now I'm going home empty-handed.
We beg the government to listen to what they are saying so that we can also be at peace. Because the death of a person is frustrating, and this whole thing is also very frustrating.
Well, we're going to hear from members of the association, of the Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana, who have just suspended their strike and giving government a 2-week ultimatum to address their concerns. General Secretary Richard Kofi Jordan has been speaking.
I'm not here to litigate. We are putting the strike in abeyance out of respect for Ghanaians. We have seen pressure everywhere. Right. We are giving government 2 weeks. We are giving an employer 2 weeks. Today is 26 or so. Next week is not, the following week, which is on the 9th. Right. On the 9th of October, if government does not resolve all the matters before them, I'm sorry, on the 10th, we will trigger this strike again.
Now, away from that, Oliver Bakavomo and 12 other persons of the Stop Galamsey protest whose cases were outstanding will spend the next 2 weeks in police custody after an Accra Circuit Court denied the application for bail. Lawyers for the protesters had made spirited argument before the court but failed to convince the Circuit Court judge who remanded the protesters into police custody. Now, this latest development is coming on the back of influential persons and civil society organizations, including former President John Dramani Mahama, calling for the release of these protesters. They have been calling for immediate termination of the prosecution of the country protesters and, calling for their release. So what exactly happened in court today? My colleague Kenneth Jesse has spent his entire day in court and has this.
Lead convener of Democracy Hub, Oliver Bakavomo, alongside other demonstrators of the Stop Galamsey Now, have been remanded into police custody for 2 weeks. Now, Oliver could not turn up in court yesterday because, according to his lawyers and the Ghana Police Service, he had fallen ill and was in the care of the police hospital. But a limping Oliver appeared in court today in a nose mask, ready to face judgment. At the end of the day, the judge revealed that Oliver and others should be remanded into police custody until at least the 8th of October. Private legal practitioner Martin Pegbu expressed his dissatisfaction with the verdict.
What I witnessed in court, there was no need for a remand. I'm very, very confident of what I saw. Oh no, there's usually judges would make orders for bail and ask that the Ghana card or passport, etc. So number one, the Ghana card details of the accused be furnished to the registrar. Then number two, a passport order. That is to say the passport is seized. And then things about the police go to verify. So remember that before somebody is released from custody after the bail, the police go with the person to verify the abode and the sureties. Yes.
Some of the families and friends of those who are being remanded expressed their dissatisfaction with the verdict.
We have been sitting on a ticking time bomb. Ghana is a ticking time bomb. It's just a matter of time before Ghana is destroyed. It's falling down before our eyes. You and I, we know it. Every day, any year, unless we stand up, any year, Ghana is falling. And it's up to you and I to get up and make our minds. And I speak to the person on the street, the person in the markets, voting just because you are voting. You don't even know the policies. You ask somebody, you say, as for me, I'm by me, as for me, I'm. Find out, know what they are come to do for us. What do they have for us? They don't think about us. They don't want to share their spoils and go.
I do not agree. There are videos online even showing his arrest, videos that have him, like his hands put up, videos that show that he wasn't resisting, videos that show that he wasn't doing anything unlawful, videos that show that they were just standing elsewhere and then and then the police came to just take them away. I mean, it is not illegal to protest. It is not unlawful to speak for your right, to fight for the environment you are living in. We don't expect anyone else to come and do that fight for us.
From the Accra Circuit Court, Kenneth Jesse for Joy News.
And still on illegal mining, the Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana is worried that illegal mining activities could have devastating impact on the manufacturing of drugs in the country. Now, President of the Society, Samuel Kordonko, says the contamination of water sources through Galamsey could lead to the importation of water to support the production of pharmaceuticals. Now, he says the production of essential pharmaceutical products depends on access to quality water. Nana Boachi Yadom has more in the following report.
The Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana has expressed deep concern over the increasing threat posed by illegal mining activities to the country's water resources. Speaking at its annual general meeting, the president of the society, Samuel Kordonko, lamented the contamination of water sources by illegal miners, noting it could lead to the importation of water for local manufacturing purposes.
It is undoubtedly one of the greatest threats to public health we have ever confronted. The activities of illegal miners, in particular, have devastated our water bodies, making it increasingly expensive for pharmaceutical companies to treat water for the manufacturing processes. If this environmental degradation continues, we may soon face the grim reality of importing water to support our local manufacturing industry.
Presidential Advisor on Health, Dr. Anthony Insia Asari, indicated the measures are being instituted to curb illegal mining activities to enhance local production.
There are laws which are in this country. We will make sure that those laws apply. But the fight against Galamsey or mining or illegal mining is a holistic fight. Everybody should be on board. So we are calling on everybody, including all the political parties, where the major one, to put their signature under a document so that together we all work together.
Meanwhile, the Pharmaceutical Society has expressed deep concern over the shortage of pharmacists in the public sector due to government's freeze on recruitment.
First, the shortage of pharmacists within the public sector is a critical concern. The last recruitment of pharmacists by the government took place in 2020, when only 300 pharmacists were employed among 51,000 healthcare professionals, which represents less than 1% of all healthcare professionals recruited in 2020.
Their services have been rendered, and it is time they receive what is owed to them.
For Joy News, Nana Boachi Yadom, Kumasi.
Also staying on the sector, the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences has expressed deep concern over the devastating impact of illegal mining on the country. Now, they are asking the Executive and Parliament to revoke LI 2462 to halt further environmental degradation and enforce a ban on mining in water bodies. Now, the Academy is committed to collaborating with all stakeholders to protect Ghana's environment and put an end to illegal mining. They have just issued, 5 key pillars and made 5 recommendations to the government to tackle the Galamsey menace. And my colleague Carlos Caloni has details of this and joins me via Zoom. Carlos, so take us through the key recommendations of the council. So Carlos has details there, but the Ghana Academy of Art and Sciences say that they are hinging their recommendations on the fact that there's need to protect the country's environment, and they have issues with the legislation which is giving power to companies and individuals to mine in forest. That is LI 2462. They're joining several CSOs to call on government to repeal that LI and end illegal mining or mining in forest. Now, they say that if you look at the devastation that a country is currently witnessing in terms of water bodies that have been destroyed, forest reserves that are being destroyed, it only serves the country right that LI 2462 is revoked. And therefore, they are making some recommendations to the government to try and deal with this illegal mining menace. There's more of their suggestion on majoronline.com. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more. Please to stay with us. Now, welcome back from the break. Let's take you to the western region, to a town called Usiejo, where some women in that community in the Hunter West municipality of the western region are resorting to the use of aluminium sulfate, commonly known as alum, in an attempt to purify the polluted water source by illegal miners for domestic use. Now, beyond the hidden health risk posed by the alum, women and children in the town are also experiencing skin irritation after bathing with the contaminated water. As part of Joy News' series on the effect of Galamsey, we take you to Usiejo, where the Mortuary River, the main source of water for the community, has been severely polluted by illegal mining activities. Erastus Asaridonko has visited the community and has come through with this report.
The Butre, a once clean water source serving the water needs of Usiejo, Hotopo, and surrounding communities, is now a murky, poisoned river flowing like a plague through the Ahanta West community. But many, like this woman in towns like Usiejo, have few alternative sources of water due to pollution from illegal mining for gold.
The rain doesn't rain, you won't get water in the well. You see that the water will finish in the well, you go, you won't get water to fetch. You won't get water to fetch. You go for it. Because you don't get water inside the well. What do? You want to wash too. So you go and fetch it and then use the alum and then you use it to wash. Because of the mud, the Galamsey mud, you can't use to do anything unless if you take and wash alone.
Some have resorted to fetching water from the polluted Butre River. They mix it with aluminium sulfate or alum, a water clarifying chemical sold commonly in provision stores in the town. They wait for the suspended particles to settle and the cleared portion is then separated for domestic use. Our testing of water samples from the Butre River at Usiejo registered 0.341 milligrams per liter for arsenic and 0.147 milligrams per liter for cadmium. This is an increase of 582% and 194% compared to the World Health Organization standard of 0.050 milligrams per liter. Aside the hidden dangers of using the cleared water, the women told us they get skin irritation when they bath with the water.
We use the same water for bathing, but the chemicals in it are causing skin rashes. The alum makes my hand itch whenever I put them in the water.
Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Ewusiejo, Western Region.
Well, to deal with impacts such as this is why the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences is making 5 recommendations to government to deal with the menace. And my colleague Carlos Kaloni joins me via Zoom with details of that. Carlos, so what recommendations are the Academy of Arts and Sciences putting forth to the government? Carlos, kindly unmute so we can hear what you're telling us. So Carlos will unmute so that he will give us this recommendation by the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences on how government can deal. Okay, so let's have those recommendations by the Arts and Sciences Academy.
All right, so the first recommendation is immediate revocation of LI 2462 by the executive and parliament to protect the country's forest reserve. And they are saying that if no action is taken, all forest reserve could be lost by year 2030. That's the first one. The second one is that the executive and parliament must consult widely with specific experts and stakeholders when enacting legislation that affect the environment, and they should use their powers under the Constitution to protect the country from environmental threats. The third recommendation, according to them, is that the executive should stop using or issuing permits and licenses for mining in forest reserves, and they are saying that companies currently holding permits should be relocated to new areas outside these forest reserves with support to restart operations in this new look.
Okay, so those form part of recommendations by the Ghana Academy of Arts and Sciences, and they believe that if government is able to do that, it will help in dealing with the Galamsey menace that we are all struggling to deal with in this country. Well, this is still Joy News Prime. Let's take you to the Ashanti region, where with just 72 days until the general election, the parliamentary race in the Boakwa South constituency is intensifying as constituents demand urgent solutions to the lack of clean water, worsened by the ongoing Galamsey crisis. They are also calling for more job opportunities to address the rising youth unemployment in the area.
Here on the street of Chibi, there are a lot of youth who walk down the street and complain about issues such as youth unemployment and others. I have caught up with 2 gentlemen here who are also going to share with us their concerns they expect the politicians to address in the lead up to the 2024 elections. So I have with me Christopher, who is on my right. So what are your issues?
Well, there are many issues at hand now, but I only just on 3. Okay. What are we expecting any of the government that will come into power to do is I want any government who want to come to the power to be able to make sure that our road networks are very, very good. Okay. They should be able to give us an outline on how they'll be able to change all these issues in their manifestos.
Unemployment is also one of the big issues around here. People graduate and they don't get access to any work to do. They have to go to Galamsey and all that. Then people are chasing them, people are dying. So unemployment also is. And also one concern is about water. We have a very, very bad condition of water. We don't get good access of water to drink, water to cook. So these are my 3 issues that I want the government to get access to it so that you will solve it for us.
All right, so welcome back to Johnny's Prime. Let's do showbiz now, and Becky is here. Hi, Becky, how are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you, Brace?
I'm blessed.
This evening, let's talk about, well, let's start the bulletin, showbiz bulletin, with musician Bernard Amankwa. So he had his celebration of grace concert at the weekend. We couldn't bring you that, so we're bringing you all the highlights. And he's been speaking to us here on Joy News.
You are heavily laden, I'll give you rain, I'll give you
It's been awesome. It's been awesome. The crowd, the participation, the songs. You can see that God was in all of us, our administration. God has been so good to us. Not many starts and are able to continue, but because we celebrate grace, God also makes sure that every year He gives us the needed resources for us to be able to put together this kind of experience. So we give all the praise to God. It is not by might, neither is it by our power, but it is the doing of the Lord.
Happy birthday to you, Ernest, and please remember to brush your teeth with Pepsodent this evening after all the chicken and all the drinks. Then tomorrow when you wake up, you brush your teeth with Pepsodent, because with Pepsodent, every smile matters. We're grateful for your time, everybody. And this song is for Ernest and all our lovely viewers out there.